Welcome to the Personal Trainer Hustle. Personal Trainer Hustle. If you didn't know, you do now.
In today's episode, we are answering one of your questions, and the question is around how do we incentivize our clients, our customers, to sign up for longer term plans, right? How do we keep from getting into this paying session by session? How do we incentivize somebody to pay longer? So this question was sent in via DM on Instagram by Mello the Manta. So Instagram shout out here, Mello_the_Manta, right? So shout out to you. I appreciate the question. We DM'd a little bit back and forth here. But let's get into the question. For those of you guys that have sent me some questions and stuff, I'm getting to them as I can, right? Making episodes around your questions and also other topics. So I have gotten them. I've gotten back to everyone at least on Instagram now. So on Instagram at Personal Trainer Hustle, we've been connecting. So just letting you guys know, for those of you guys that have sent in some questions, we're getting to them, but I have replied back to everybody as of now. We'll kind of skim over it and then we'll get into the question because I don't want to get into all your business, dude. You know, you sent me a little bit about your background and your training and stuff like that. But you've been training for 2 years at a commercial gym. Okay. Today you sold your first training package outside of the gym, it says. 10 sessions, nothing fancy, but paid in full. And like I said in the DM, that's great, man. That's awesome that you got a 10 session pack paid in full. You know, that's not easy to do, especially when you're just starting off. So that's great. So here's the question for everybody. Let's get into it. It says, what have you done to incentivize clients to commit to training package instead of going session by session? What worked, what didn't work, and what really didn't work? Thanks. And keep doing what you do. It's an incredible asset to all of us trainers, and we love you. So thank you for that message, and thank you to everybody that has sent in your messages because I appreciate it. You know, this is what I hoped the podcast will turn into, is for a place for you guys to feel comfortable being honest and being real. And the messages that I get from you guys are always so honest and real, and that's what it takes, you guys. You know, there's nothing that you're going through or questions that you ask that don't make sense. You know, this is exactly what we all go through. And this is an interesting question here because it is true. A lot of trainers, when we start, we don't know what to charge. We just did an episode about figuring out how to raise your rates. So if you guys want to listen to the previous episode, that was about how to raise your rates. And, you know, it goes deep into just pricing and how you think about your rates and things like that. So this episode is actually a great episode to follow that up with. Because we struggle around this topic of rates, of selling the packages, of how to put that together. So this is going to be good. And this is something that happens, right? When you start, do you do bundles? Do you do long-term? Do you do month-to-month? Do you do per session? And a lot of us, we tend to just be okay with charging maybe a session at a time, sometimes maybe a few sessions at a time, right? So I'm just going to give you guys just some things that I have implemented over the years that have helped me. I personally, because it's one-on-one training, have not really implemented like a month-to-month type of thing, but it's also a great way to think about it. I enjoy personally, I find there's, you know, maybe business-wise, it might not be the best move, but I find the structure and the flexibility of having packages and having people purchase those packages and go session by session a lot more comfortable. And I find a lot of people enjoy that more than feeling like they're losing their session. So to each their own as far as how you structure it. Obviously, you want to think about your business first. But today I'm going to talk about sessions and session packages, especially since that's what the question is around, right? How do I set up and incentivize people to buy longer term packages with me? So that's what we're going to get into today. Nothing fancy. Today, I've got 5 things that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to give you guys 5 ideas on how to incentivize. All right. So Camilo, I got you. 5 topics, 5 tips here to incentivize people to train long term. So let's get into it. Number 1, what you want to do is develop a better pitch when you are selling your package. So number 1, if you're going to sell a longer term package, you have to have a longer term goal. Okay. So it's very simple, but a lot of us don't think about this. If you want to sell a longer term package, let's say right now, right, you said you sold a 10 pack. That's wonderful. But what you want to do is have a package that is maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 sessions, and maybe you can work your way up. Like I said, the previous episode to this one, 141 is a great asset to this episode as well. But what you want to do is maybe go from 10 and then see if you can add a 20 pack to your plan, right? Specifically to the person that sent this question in, because they sold a 10 package is what they told me. But either way, right, what you want to do is think longer term, right? How long does it take to reach certain goals? And so a lot of the time when it comes to presenting our rates, presenting our packages, number one, sometimes we don't have packages, right? So we don't have long-term plans for people, and that's our number one issue. So number one, we have to establish bigger packages, but more importantly, you need to start to figure out about how far you can get someone within a certain amount of workouts or a certain amount of weeks, right? So let's say people are coming in twice a week on this 10 pack on this 10 session pack that you just sold. If they're coming twice a week, that's going to be 5 weeks, right? So it's going to be a month and some change. And so you should have an idea about what you're going to be able to achieve. And there's many ways to think about it, right? Maybe you can say, hey, I'm going to try to lose 10 pounds with you and put you on a plan where we're doing this, we're doing that. Or you might say something like, we're going to strength train for 10 weeks. And based on how far we get, we should increase muscle density and start burning more calories. And, you have to have what and I can't give you every single pitch, but because it's very personalized to the person that you're talking to. But at the end of the day, the first thing that you want to implement is changing what you're saying to that individual as you present the package. So I have a whole class that I do with my trainers that I want to have, give access to you guys eventually. I have not put it together because obviously I got a lot of other things going on, but this is going to be a little bit of an intro to it for you guys to understand how I put things together. And this is kind of the number one rule around my sales system that I implement at my gym. And that is you have to have a reason for the plan that you're putting that person on. And so the communication is going to be very important first, right? So you can't do what most people do, which is just put them through a workout and then show them plans, right? Because now people are always going to opt to the shortest plan, right? Because they don't want to make that big of an investment. They want to have, maybe 1 foot out the door, right? Especially if it's a big investment. So what you need to do and what we need to learn how to do when we sell personal training, this is why I always say you have to study sales because there are aspects of sales that must be learned, right? And this is one of them. You have to change how you speak before you even present the rates. So before you present the rates, a good trainer and a good salesperson is first going to outline what the long-term plan is here based on your goals, right? So if somebody comes in, and I know what the question is going to be, what if somebody just wants to lose 5 pounds? That's fine. That's not a topic for today. But what you want to think is most people have long-term goals. And if they don't have long-term goals, maybe you want to establish some long-term goals. Hey, after we lose this weight, you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to maintain. You're going to want to learn whatever it is. And again, I can't give you the whole lesson here today, but I can at least get you to be creative and understand the concept. And the concept is you need to think long term as you're taking them through their consultation, their assessment, their first workout. If maybe they bought a discount, like 3 sessions with you or 1 free session, whatever it is that you're doing up front, however it is that you've structured it, that is the time to start to communicate with them that we have long-term goals. And so what that's going to do is it's going to line up nicely with the package that you're going to present, right? Because it doesn't make sense that if they need to lose 15 pounds and learn how to weight train and start to fix their posture, it doesn't make sense that they should be on a 1 session or 5 session plan, right? We're not going to lose 15 pounds, improve posture, increase bone density, learn how to eat better, learn how to sleep better. All of those things are not going to happen in 5 sessions. So then why would I present 5 sessions if 5 sessions isn't the real plan that this person needs to achieve the goal. And so, number one, the first thing that we need to learn, like I keep saying, is learn to speak about the plan. Don't speak about the rates, speak about the plan, right? So, what is the plan? So, when you first open up with someone about the rates, before you even talk about the rates, talk about their goals and the time frame that you are guessing it's going to take to achieve those goals, right? Whether it's just the goal they said or goals that you know are going to be important for them, like sleep, right? Maybe they're not thinking about sleep, but establishing a different sleep pattern may be part of what they need for them to achieve their goals, right? If they're sleeping 4 hours a night, they're not recovering, the plan isn't going to work. So part of it is you being a professional and saying, hey, these are the elements that you want, but these are also the elements that we need to implement. Let's work together. How long is it going to take realistically for us to achieve all this? And then putting a session amount that goes with that. That way, you're not just trying to sell 20 sessions, 30 sessions. What you're doing is you're selling the entire plan and about how long it's going to take. So now it makes sense, right? If I say, hey, you're going to lose about 4 to 5 pounds of fat per month if the plan is going well. We also have to develop eating habits. That's going to take a few weeks, right, to start to change and tweak things, right? It's not going to be overnight. And also we have to figure out ways to like learn to de-stress, right? The workouts are going to be a part of it. Eating better is going to be a part of it. Sleeping. So I think realistically, for you to see a big difference, it would take 20 to 30 sessions. That's going to be about 2, 3, 4 months of training, right? Again, I'm just throwing random numbers out there because you guys have to figure out what your packages are and how you want it all to line up. But that's my number one tip. If you want to have people buy longer term plans, you have to have a long-term plan for them. I know it's very obvious, but again, right, when you start, you guys are asking questions because like you haven't done it before, you're not sure, right? So that would be my advice. You want to have long-term plans to match long-term goals, right? And again, it's kind of hard because you don't know exactly how long to train. But like for me, I like to have like a 3 month and a 6 month plan, right? Like that's a pretty standard, and however many sessions fit into that, right? So are you going to have a 2 time a week, 3 month plan or a 3 time a week, 6 month plan? That's up to you how you want to do it, right? And again, this is why the previous episode is also kind of in line with this, is because you also right now you have to figure out what's realistic budget wise for people, right? Like you may say like, oh, my plans are 5 times a week. Yeah, but that's thousands of dollars that they're spending every month for their fitness. Are you really at that level already? Or are you going to start where a lot of trainers start, which is just 2 times a week with a coach, and then you give them some homework. Maybe they go to a class for yoga, and you as a coach are just monitoring the entire program, but you're not actually part of every single workout, right? You're giving them homework, you're monitoring it, you're changing it, you're progressing it, you're progressing their workouts with you. But a lot of trainers, we're not actually working with our clients every day. It's very few. Now it is possible and it is true. And we have some people like that at the gym that come in 4 times a week, 5 times a week with their coach. Yes, but that you don't build an entire career, especially in the beginning when you're just starting off. You don't build off of that, right? You're going to have a lot of 2 time, 3 time a week. That's pretty standard to meet with a coach, and you are going to find clients that can't afford coming to meeting with the trainer 2 to 3 times a week. So just keep that in mind when you put your plans together. What does it look like when I can only see you twice a week? How much homework do you have? How much responsibility do you have? How much do I check in on you? Again, this is why every trainer is different. Different trainers can create different plans. And the better you can present that plan, the more it makes sense that they should train a longer term. But that's not everything. So, number two, what you want to couple with that, right, is a sliding scale plan. So what does that mean? The question was, how do you incentivize people to buy longer term plan? Okay. Well, for your example, right, you sold a 10 pack. What I would say is maybe add a 20 pack, and it's just $5 less per session, right? It's a very simple, very old school, very basic, right? Just buy in bulk type of framework. That's all it is, right? Just like Costco, right? You buy more, you get more for less. And so it's a similar thing that you guys can apply. You can just apply, the 10 pack is whatever, $90 per session, but the 20 pack is 80 or it's 75, right? Or whatever the numbers is. Like I said in the previous episode, I talked a lot about this, right? The numbers are just the numbers. I don't care if you guys are going, the 10 pack is 50 per session and then the 20 is 45, or if you're going, the 10 pack is 100 per session and the 20 pack is 85, whatever. Because again, I don't know what market you're in. I don't know how much experience you have. I don't know how much confidence you have. I don't know if you have a facility or not. Do you have overhead or not? Right? Who are your type of clients? Like, what's your demographic? Because I don't know that, the numbers can range from 40 to 140 for all I know. So the numbers don't matter, but the scale does matter, right? When you present, the 10 pack is one rate, the 20 pack is a slightly lower rate. And then if you want, you can have a 30 session pack where they buy sessions, 30 sessions up front, and then they save even more. So that is a simple sliding scale that you can apply to your training. I actually did not have this in my notes, but I'm going to add this right here. And that is, let me see. I'll add it to number 4 here. All right. Something just dawned on me, you guys, that I do as well that I did not make a note of before I started the package, the presentation here, the podcast. Sorry. I got package written down in front of me, so I just said it when I read it. But back on point, right? There's many things we can do. Sliding scale to where that they drop rate. The more sessions they get, the cheaper it is. That's perfectly normal. Now, again, right, if you feel weird because your last rate is going to be too cheap, then just start there. Establish what your lowest rate you're comfortable with is, and then just raise the short-term rate, right? So instead of starting with your comfortable rate and dropping from there, you can start with your comfortable rate and then increase from there, right? So like, let's say 60 is your bare minimum that you're willing to charge. Okay, then have it 60 per session on your long-term plan, on your 30 plan, and then it's 65 for the 20 and then 70 for the 10, right? So you can work your way up if you don't want to end up undervaluing yourself. You just make it really, a little bit pricey for the short term. So I'll leave that up to you. Again, like I said, you can do a 5 10 20 scale, you can do a 10 20 30 scale, you could do a 10 30 60 scale, right? And I'm talking about sessions, how many sessions you sell. Or you can do it monthly or whatever. I'll leave you guys with this for those of you guys that are doing a monthly let's say a monthly charge. Okay, what you can do is have, again, 3 different packages that you have. One is 1 session a week, and it's X amount per month. You can do 2 sessions a week, and it's X amount per month. And now the rate drops per session. And then you can have a plan that bills you for 3 times a week every month, and it's a little bit less, right? So again, you can do the same system, except now it's how many sessions you get per month, and you can still have a monthly billing. The issue with that, for those of you guys that haven't done it and may think, oh, maybe I should do that. The issue is you have to have a plan if you miss sessions or if they cancel sessions, right? Do they carry over? Do you owe them anything? What if you get sick and they paid for 8 sessions? Are you giving them their money back, right? That is why I said session per session is just so much easier and cleaner. Yes, the idea of getting a monthly payment is great, but it's the responsibility of making sure that you fit all those sessions is also greater, right? So if they're running out of time and they still want to use their last 2 sessions this last weekend and you wanted to go to a game on Saturday, well, now you have to decide, do you train them because they already paid for the month, or do you, give them money back or have a cancellation policy? So again, the monthly always seems better, but there are other responsibilities that come with a month to month. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I just like to keep it real with you guys from my experience. Okay, number 3, the third thing that you can do is you can add perks. Okay, so and again, all of this can work together, you guys. You can have long-term plans, right? So, right, based on your goal, like number 1, right? You just have to change the way you present it is number 1, right? Have a long-term goal that matches long-term sessions. But you can also couple that with a sliding scale. That's what we do at the gym. The longer plan not only makes sense for long-term goals, but you also save a little bit because it's less per session the longer you train. And then the third thing you can do is you can also add perks. You can have add-ons, right? So again, you don't have to do the sliding scale. You don't have to do these all work together or independently. It's all I'm trying to say. Okay. Just wanted to make that clear. They all work together or independently. They're going to help you out. So if you can add them all together, that's kind of how I like to do it. So add some perks, right? Maybe you have like silver membership, bronze membership, gold membership. And I know I said that out of order, but right, you have your top tier clients that are on a gold plan, and those are the people that buy 20 sessions at a time, 30 sessions at a time, right? So these, maybe they get a weekly email from you with information. Maybe they get to have a dinner that you put together for those clients, right? Or there's like I don't know, something that you give them, right? Every month, all your best customers on this long-term plan, maybe they get a free boot camp for them and their family, or and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, you guys. None of this is planned stuff that I was going to say, but the idea that I want you guys to understand is you can have add-ons. And that again is part of your creativity. It's part of who you are. It's part of your tribe, your client members, right? Depending on what you think that might incentivize your type of clients, that's something that you can consider, right? Maybe you create goodie bags every 3 months and you only send them to these clients, right? Again, you can send them to everybody, but you were asking me, how do I incentivize people to think long term? I may want to consider having some perks, some add-ons, a special club or membership for certain people that are on these longer term plans or on these paid in full memberships, right? However I want to do it, right? So everybody that pays in full, they become part of this, and you can have it in your presentation. You can say, hey, gold members are the members that sign up for the 30 session plan, let's say, right? So let's say, just because of the question that I asked, you sold a 10 pack. So I'm going to say, what if you had a 10, a 20, and a 30, and you just said, hey, it's all the same, but the 30 pack people, they get access to this online portal that I have, right? So if you wanted to have more access to more workouts, to my library of workouts for homework and stuff, I go over techniques or whatever, so you can do those as homework as well. And I built this portal, then you give them access to that portal because they are the 30 pack people. So you could do it that way, right? There's just so many little things you can do to incentivize them to buy your bigger packages and think long term. So that's number three, right? You can think of some perks, some add-ons, some exclusive access to something that they get for being more long-term committed clientele. Um, Number four, card processing and payment options. Okay, so that's the note that I made when I paused earlier in the episode. I was like, where do I put this payment? So I'm going to put these together at number four. Another thing that incentivizes people is the ability to pay with a credit card. Um, a lot of you guys are missing out on bigger packages because you're only taking cash, right? Because of course, I get it, right? You want to get cash. It's whatever you decide to do with cash, right? But the issue is that it's holding you back from a lot of growth potential. It's holding you back from a lot of like compounding that your business could be having. And so having a card processing software, right? Something as simple as I think one is called Clover. There's another one. The popular one I like is Square. You could also do it through software that like keeps track of your clients. So if you use something like MindBody, or a very inexpensive one you guys could look into is Vagaro. It's for like fitness gyms and salons. So if you have that app, you can put your sessions in there with the price, and all you have to do is slide a card. They give you like a little thing to plug into it. You slide a card, or you just punch in their information. Or the best thing about a software like that is they can sign up on their phone. So they have their card information on their phone. So they go to your app, they click on the sessions that they want to buy, and then they hit buy, and their card is usually already there, or they can input their card. So the point is, there's a lot of ways to take payments. There's a lot of ways to take bigger payments. So the issue sometimes that people have when they're selling bigger packages is, okay, your bigger package is $1,000. It's $2,000. Listen here, buddy. I don't walk around with $2,000 in my wallet, right? Cash. But what I do have is this credit card that I have $10,000 on. So it's not the $2,000 that's the problem for signing up for training. It's that I don't have that cash with me. And if you ask me to go get it, I don't feel comfortable going to the bank, getting all this cash, coming back to you next time just to try some training sessions. At that point, how about I just give you $100 every week? Right. So you're stifling the big income that you could be generating, that is especially helpful when you're starting off, right? You get a lot of paid in fulls, you get upfront commissions and money. So that's a simple thing that you can do, is just have access, and you don't have to use it all the time. If you don't want to pay the processing fees every single time, I get it, right? They charge you 1, 2, 3% of the credit, the payment that you're taking. So you are having to pay a fee for them to process that for you, but it does also give you access to bigger payments and bigger plans, right? So it helps you stay in the game longer, especially when you have expenses, especially when you have overhead, right? You have a gym or you're trying to pay for advertising. It's helpful to get these bigger upfront payments, right? It's gonna get you momentum, but it does come at a fee as well, right? So if you want to play big, you got to pay into it a little bit. That's sometimes what holds us back is we don't want to pay that 1, 2, 3%. And so we would rather take $50, $100 cash than to take the $1,000, $2,000 and just have to give up a percentage of it. So, and I understand it. I understand it. I do, but I'm just letting you know that this could be something you could be implementing is having card processing. And in addition to this, just to keep it to 5 points, I'm going to add this one to number four. Um, Another great way to incentivize people for long term is to allow them to make payments. Okay, that's another thing that we at my gym allow people to do. We have the paid in full option, and then we have a broken down option, right? And we don't have any interest on it or anything. It's just to facilitate payments. So here's the thing, right? Let's say people are like, I totally want to train 30 sessions with you. I'm committed or whatever, but I don't have the 2 grand, right? Or whatever the number ends up being, right? But what I could do is pay, 700 something every month, right? Or $500 every month until I pay it off. I could do that. Is that an option? And so again, you can just let them pay 500 every time they finish the sessions, or you can have a contract. And a part of your agreement that says, hey, I'm going to charge this card that you're going to leave on file with me or in the system if you have a software, and you're going to have a system built into your software for your personal training, and it has an option where it charges them every month for 3 payments until they've paid it off. And so you can set that up through software, or you can do it manually, however you want to do it. And you can just say, hey, okay, this is going to be an automatic bill, and it's going to charge you 2 more times. It's going to charge you 500 today to get started, and $500 2 more times, so that you get the whole package. And it's going to be a little bit cheaper for you. Instead of having to buy 10 sessions at a time or 5 sessions at a time, you're just going to buy 30 and just break it down into payments. And again, right, that's why I said this all works together. At the same time, you're also like incentivizing them to save, right? So this works kind of in conjunction with a sliding scale. So if the 30 pack is cheaper and then you give them the option to make payments, then you have a long-term commitment. So you did sell the 30, you didn't get the whole money up front, but they signed that they're committed to 30 and they're committed to making these payments. And so, again, right, I don't want to get into legalities, but at least you have something where they feel like, hey, I made this commitment. I should be making my payments and pay this off, right? So, and then again, like I said, the software can also allow you to just build that into your charging system. That's why I put card processing and payments together in this one, because I realized having that card payment processing, right, that software that allows you to create your own packages and bundles, just like anything, right? Think about any time you've bought something online, right? Somebody had to set that up on the back end so that it says, okay, you're buying 1 course, you're buying 3 tacos, right? Whatever. It's somebody has to put that in. And so you can do it for your own personal training. You can put in 10 sessions, charge them twice, right? Divide it in two, 500 this month, 500 next month, 200 this month, 200 next month, right? And now they've paid them all up through the software, and the software takes the card information and charges them on a set date. Now, you have to look into that a little bit. It takes some work to set it up, but if you guys want to be legitimate, it's something to look into. But that again, that allows flexibility for long-term payments, long-term thinking for your customer. So it's going to give them a little bit of breathing room, knowing, okay, I do want to train long-term. I want those results that we talked about. I just need to break it down a little bit. So that's another easy way to incentivize long-term. And then obviously number five, we've also implemented this. This works really well. You can have some type of discount for a paid in full only, right? Or maybe just for a paid in full 30 pack, however you want to do it, right? So what we've done is we might say we've done this in the past, right? Like this is the rate, whatever. You can break it down, or if you want to pay it all up front, we'll give you a little 5%, 10%, 15%, whatever you guys want to do, right? I don't want to give you guys all the details here, my secrets, but obviously, just like anything else, right? If the percentage is too low, It's not going to incentivize them. If it's too high, you're going to lose money. That's why I left this at number 5, because it's not my favorite thing to do. I would rather use the other methods if I can and just get everything up front, right? Have other ways for them to pay instead of just discounting. But it is one method that works a lot, right? And you are getting more money up front. So it's kind of you're meeting them in the middle, right? Like, hey, you have to pay it all up front for me to give you a discount, right? It's the only way that it's going to work for me as well. So it's mutually beneficial. I'm going to take the $2,000 payment and I'm going to take $200 off. I'm going to take $100 off if we're doing 10%, right? And I'll give you that. That's fine. But, because you're making a big investment. So it has to make sense. You don't want to start discounting and then discounting per session. And now you're taking $10 off of every single session because you're just trying to get them signed up. You want to have a little bit of give and take. So you can say, hey, these are the rates. These are the payment plans. This is the scale. If you want to pay it all up front, then I can add a discount. Or another way you can do it, if you don't want to discount your rates, this is also a very great way to do it, is incentivize by adding something free, like free sessions, right? So I talked about giving them perks or add-ons earlier. This is something you can do, right? You can say, hey, there's a 10 pack. This is just what it is. There's a 20 pack, and if you buy the 20 pack paid in full, I add a session or I add 2 sessions. And then if you get the 30 pack, I add 2 sessions or I add 3 sessions, right? Again, I can't make the rules for you. I don't know what situation you're in. I don't know what you feel comfortable giving away. Like I said, if it's not enough of an incentive, people aren't going to take you up on it. But if it's too much of an incentive, you're going to feel like you're getting ripped off. So you have to figure out where you are in your career. Be realistic with yourself, right? Like, do I really want, am I willing to give away 2 sessions, 3 sessions if it means this person's paying for 30 sessions up front? If the answer is hell yeah, I want that 30 session, I'll give them 3 sessions, go for it. If you're like, hell yeah, I'll give them 10% off if they're paying, then go for it, right? It's up to you what you feel comfortable with. But like I said in the previous episode, for those of you guys that already listen or may go back and listen to the previous episode, there is also a point where you're starting to devalue what you do, right? But I am a big believer that when you're starting off, you really just want to get the ball rolling, right? So you want to be training. That's the most important thing is trainers need to be training. The more you sit around without sessions, without leads, without clients, the harder things start to feel and to become. Your self-belief starts to go down, right? Your value and your worth of your training. There starts to be doubt, there starts to be hesitation, and usually sitting around leads to more sitting around. No training leads to more training. And by that same, rule or logic or principle, the more you train, the more things are going to go your way, right? So if you get yourself 5 people on a little discount or you had to give up 3 sessions to get, the more you do that, the more referrals are going to come your way, the better you get at your training, the better you get at your presentation, the better you get at changing your rates so it makes more sense, the more money you have to invest in a software, the more money you have to invest in a scheduler, the more money you have to invest in advertisements, which now leads to more clients, which leads to more sales, which leads to more of this. So you want to get the ball rolling is all I'm saying. So you have to consider those two things. A lot of people feel like, oh, I don't want to devalue myself. But the issue is you're going too long without clients, you're going too long without leads, and that's going to have a negative effect, right? So you're better off, going the other way and say, hey, I'm kind of taking one on the chin here, but at least I'm getting the ball rolling for my business. All right. So short and sweet. I think it's a fairly short episode. I didn't check when I started, but um, five easy things, you guys, that you can start implementing into your presentation at the gym. Before I get off, let's talk about this. You guys make sure, and I should have said this in the beginning, but for those of you guys that have been listening to the podcast, sometimes the best stuff is at the end because at that point I'm in a flow and I start realizing certain things you need to know. So listening all the way to the end on the episodes, it's always good and there's always something here. So let's talk about it, right? I hit my 5 points. You guys got the concept of today's episode. Let's talk about this. You guys make sure that you have something printed out to present to people that is made ahead of time. One of the most frustrating things in business, in training, is not knowing what somebody charges. It really makes you feel like you're being lied to, like you're making this up, right? So I'm going to tell you guys something that happened to me recently, right? We went to look at offices. Um, and the we is my lady friend and I, um, that you guys may have seen on my Instagram the other day. And we're looking for offices, right? She has her own business. I have my own business. So we're making moves and we were looking at offices. And when we went to look at an office, I asked the rates. I said, hey, how much are these spaces? And the girl came up with these numbers. And I was like, I don't think these numbers make sense. I think she's just kind of seeing what she can get away with charging us. And from that moment on, I was like, okay, I'm kind of out of the deal. I'm going to go back. I'm going to reach back out to her, but this isn't making sense. What I saw online and what you told me are a little bit too different, right? Like this doesn't make sense. I look at locations all the time. I know what it should be. And you're just kind of making it up, I think, right? So when you guys do that, right, I'm setting that as an example as to what you're going to make your clients feel when you don't have your rates ready to go, when you don't have a presentation. What it makes them feel like, and what you guys may be doing, is trying to figure out what you can get away with, right? So, like, you may be okay charging 50, but you're going to go, well, it's between 60, 70-ish, it depends on like how you're feeling and like what you can do. And so that type of jargon, that means I'm okay taking 50, but if you're willing to pay 65, I'll also take that. And I don't want to lowball it because you might have enough money to pay more. And so I'm gonna see what I can get away with. You guys, you're really messing up the flow of your business when you do that because people can feel it. Some of the people that you're dealing with, they may be business people, they may be career people, right? Like they may be investors. And so you don't know what they know, and they're gonna pick up on you trying to be shisty and figure things out. The best thing you can do as a trainer is set the rate that you actually feel comfortable with, have it written down, have the information there. Hey, 10 sessions, per session rate, total amount, discount amount, whatever, payment plan amount. Have the information there. So all you have to do is show them this is the 10 pack, this is the 20 pack, these are the payments, this is how it would work, this is what you get, these are the perks. It's all written down. It has nothing to do with whether that client has money or not. It has nothing to do with whether, they want to go long term or short term. It's already been made. It's already been decided. These are your rates. They're written down so that they know that you're not making it up from person to person, that it legitimizes your business is all I'm trying to say. So when you have it, and you guys can use, you can use Canva. I mean, you can use Word, you can use whatever. Print something out. If you can get it laminated, even better. If you can order something online that maybe is made out of plastic or something, you can do that as well on like Vistaprint, right? You can get creative, but have a presentation, have something that looks formal, that has the information, that has the packages, that has the rates, that has whatever information that they need to make up their mind. Um, and that way they know that it's legitimate. What we used to have at Bally Total Fitness early on when my first presentations is we would have a whole presentation sheet, and these were just printed. We would write on them, and we would write out their goals, their plan, where they're starting, where we expect to be, about how long it's going to be. We would have a curve, right? This is the progression curve. This is the plateau curve. And we would talk them through a whole presentation, and we would say, this is what's going on. This is what I'm working with. And then we would write it out, right? This is the plan that we're thinking, right? And so we would start writing out the numbers for them. So again, this is about a presentation. You want to have a good presentation that doesn't feel like you're just making it up on the spot. I'm telling this. I told this story a long time ago on one of the podcast episodes, but this happened to me. I tried some boxing with a very, popular at the time, um, MMA guy, right? And he was old school MMA guy, right? But he was teaching some boxing locally, and when I asked him the rates, he was like, I don't know, whatever you feel. And I was like, whatever I feel, like, dude, this puts me in a weird awkward spot because obviously what I feel is I want to tell you $10 because I want to save my money, but at the same time I feel like I want to pay you what you're worth, so I'm also okay to say 80, let's say, whatever, 90 or whatever it was. But like, so I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna say 40, like 50, but then I might insult you if I go too low, or you might rip me off if I go too high, right? So that was obviously I didn't do business with him, right? The coaching wasn't my style to begin with, but that really put me off. I was like, I don't know what you just said to me. I said, how much is it? And he said, what do you think? completely put me off. I was like, I don't even know how this guy is running a business, So um, be careful, you guys. Be careful. You want to be ready. You want to be legit. You want to have prices. And like I said in the previous episode, establish your rate. And if you're going to change it, then just redo it. Don't change it on the spot. Redo your rates, create a new presentation when it's time to go up, right? If you don't like this rate anymore, just redo it, but don't just do it on the fly every time where you're just talking through it. Also, having a presentation, something written or something you can make notes on or point to and show them on a sheet of paper or show them on whatever you're using. If you have a slide, whatever you want to do, um, if you have a way to present, you can walk them through step by step all the way to the end to the commitment. It's all going to make sense. They can visualize it, they can see it, they can hear it. You're walking them through it. It's going to make a lot more sense, which also leads to a lot more long-term commitments because they're clear on what's happening instead of just sitting across from them or standing across from them and going, yeah, I mean, it's about $50 per session. And they're going to go, okay, do I just pay you every time? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And it's like, okay, I'll see you Monday then. Like, sure, yeah, $50 Monday, we'll do it. Okay, you know what? Monday I woke up, my back kind of hurts, so I'll see you next Monday, okay? All right, cool. You know what? I gotta go out of town for a few weeks, so I'll see you the Monday when I get back next month. Oh yeah, cool. And now you're just waiting for those $50 for a whole month. It didn't have to be this way if you had a presentation, if you had a plan, if you had a commitment, if you had an upfront payment, if you had a cancellation policy, right? You can plan ahead. And so that is the importance of having long-term thinking, presentation, incentivizing people to buy bigger packages. It's going to help that commitment and have clients that are serious about their training versus just doing it week to week. So that was a really good question. I hope the 5 points that we made today were helpful for some of you guys. Make sure that you implement them, and make sure you guys hit me up on Instagram. Make sure you guys follow Personal Trainer Hustle. It's just at Personal Trainer Hustle. My name is Sam Lopez. For those of you guys that maybe this is your first episode listening, yeah, I'm Sam Lopez. I started my own personal training gym about 9 years ago. Uh, and it's just one-on-one personal training. I've been able to grow my gym, hire on staff, um, and now start this podcast as a way to communicate with you guys, and also the Instagram now for you guys to be able to communicate with me more directly as well. So I don't know, feel free to follow, feel free to DM me. If you don't have a question, you can just send a message saying, "Hey, been listening, whatever, this is my story." Just like this person said, they told me a little bit about their history. I didn't read it in the podcast, but they told me a little bit about where they've been, what they've been doing, and what they're looking to do in the future. So I'm always happy to hear you guys' stories and see how you're progressing through your personal training career. So there's that. That's that. And I got to get back to my day. So I'll talk to you guys soon.